Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Celeste Wong. I am one of the features programmers for SF DocFest. Really, really thrilled and honored to be talking today with the director of Looking for My Anchor, Erica Jordan. Thanks for joining us, Erica.
Thank you, Celeste. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just want to thank DocFest so much for including my film. And I'm excited to premiere it on June 1st.
Yeah, we're really excited. Congratulations on the film. It's so beautiful, so moving, and I would love to hear kind of the journey from the beginning. Like, when did this idea come to you for this being your feature film?
Well, it was definitely a process. Originally, I received footage of Diane Karasak, who's featured in the film, footage that her husband, Larry Moyer, had shot. And it was just a lot of footage, unorganized. And I was really compelled by her story because I really heard about her, too much. There's all these other characters on the waterfront, like Shel Silverstein and other famous artists, that are men. And I thought, who is this woman? And she lived in this, it was after she had passed, and she had lived in this house anchored out. And as I learned about her story, I realized that a lot of our stories like intertwined. And in this, I could go into a lot of details, but one of the main things is that her art studio was at Galilee Harbor and it was destroyed. And when that whole community that was there, the artists and ship workers that were once at Galilee Harbor, when that was all destroyed, the community that I now am a part of created Galilee Harbor, which created housing for people and for artists and low income. So I just started to see how I really was part of this story. Um, and then as I was going through a lot at the time as well around loss, I realized that her story was about loss and my story is a lot about loss. And so I kind of went back into my life, as you see in the film.
Yeah, you weave together those narratives so beautifully. The Sausalito houseboat community and your own personal narrative. And seeing all of that footage of you, of your own story was so remarkable because you have so much, and seeing your whole motherhood journey was really moving. I'm curious, like, did you just have so much footage from your life to go through, or are you the type of person that just wants to record everything, given you're a filmmaker, of course? Yeah, what was it like to just go back through all of those old footage?
Um, it was hard. It was hard, but I think it was also healing for me. And the journals, um, I really hadn't looked at them since I shot those, whatever, 20 years ago. And so it was a little painful. There was a lot of journal entries, just more than I ever remember doing. Like I feel like a few times a week, I sat, I um, but I felt in a way the journey that could make its own film because it was just the whole process of going through being pregnant and being a single mom. Um, so I do think during that time I shot a lot. I shot I of my son growing up, and then of course those the journals. But it was so much. I mean, uncovering it, I there was so much I didn't remember shooting. So it was kind of a surprise. and then how to edit it down, of course.
Yeah, that's wow, that's really interesting. It's so I want to say like generous of you to bring us into that and get such an intimate look at your journey. And it parallels the stories that you highlight of the many people in the community. And I want to talk to you about particularly your relationship with Henry because it's such a beautiful kind of heart of the arc of the film. And yeah, I'd love to hear you talk about how you um well, first just built that trust with him and then ended up kind of collaborating to what we saw on screen.
Yeah, I really do feel like it became a collaboration. um, because though I was working on this film and originally thought of it more about Diane Karasak going through grief and loss and also finding belonging in living in a new community. Um, so really, I didn't have an agenda when I met with him, though I brought my camera all the time. I never felt like it was an interview situation. And again, it was just conversations. So there's just a lot. And and it became about, because he was the one who introduced the film. He came back. I was about to put this into the film. He comes back and it's like, the film should be about me cleaning up my boat. And I'm like, that's a great idea. Let's make the film about you cleaning up your boat, because then we have a story, you know? And so, as you know, I won't, well, I'm not sure if the people who are watching this have already seen the film or not, but so that did become a lot about the conversation and his struggle and then what he ended up going through. And I just became more involved in his life as he needed more help. And so the lines between friendship and it definitely blurred as we went on. Because I think part of that is because I didn't have a huge intent, you know, like agenda about how he was going to fit into this story. So, and as an editor, I think a lot of it came together in the editing room, you know, and him giving me permission to do what I wanted with the footage, you know, and I felt like he really gifted that to me. Like, you know, you make, I trust you and you do what you want with this, you know. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and that trust is really felt as a viewer watching the film. You can see that everyone is cared for, and there's so much compassion that comes through, which isn't always the case with films. So I really commend you for having that approach. I'm curious a little bit your yeah, how things did come together in the edit because the film touches on so much and it is such a powerful statement on the housing crisis, which is of course so felt in the Bay Area, but of course many other places as well. So I think everyone will relate to that. But I'm curious how you approached that subject, if there was ever different versions of the film that were um, making those statements in different ways, or just how you approached that topic and how you wanted to say what you had to say about it.
Well, I think I wanted it to, the conversation around it to be from a real human point of view more than like a political agenda, because I think all of it is a conversation. I think that there is a lot to say about what is going on and how to deal with it, and people are trying to make change, you know, with it. Um, but that's like, that part is a little less interesting to me as a filmmaker. I really am interested in more the personal struggles that we're going through so you can connect to that person. And I've always asked others, as a filmmaker and a documentary filmmaker, to be vulnerable, because I feel like that's where you get the juice and with people. And then as I saw, like I was saying, that I was so much a part of this story, I'm like, okay, this is time for me to be vulnerable, and show that I'm going through that same housing crisis, and how painful. I mean, I couldn't even communicate how painful it was for me to lose my home. I had lived there a long time. I mean, I could almost cry thinking about it. It was really like tore something, out of me, and as well as other things that were going on. So I just feel like if we can really feel compassion and understand people's stories instead of a judgment about the choices they made to where they got to where they are, that's a step anyway, and helpful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's incredibly important and so powerful in this film. I'm curious if some folks from the Sausalito community that you have in the film, if some of them have gotten a chance to see the film yet, or just how they feel about the film coming out and all of that.
Well, yeah, a lot of them are coming on June 1st, from my community, from Galilee Harbor, and Sausalito. Um, and there are a few people that are my neighbors who have seen the film, and so I got some good feedback from them, and I try to show it to the people who are in the film as well. I think I showed it to everyone who's still around to show it to them. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm nervous and excited to show it to more people. And I, oh, I mean, one compliment that I got with it was that they had people hadn't seen a film that kind of combined. I mean, when you live here and Galilee Harbor and the and people who live anchored out and the working waterfront, there of course is a long history, and there's different disagreements and things that have happened. And so I think one of the compliments was like, oh, you're making it like you really show that we're all kind of in this together in a way, and bringing it all into, it's hard to explain, but bringing all the different elements, and not just like, it is about housing, and it is about how do we find community, and how do we find belonging, how do we live a creative life and live in Marin County or San Francisco. It's like how do we create that anymore? And it was a thing that was, there was a time when it was a little easier to do, and it's becoming very difficult. So yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping that, so the community, like enjoys it and finds connection with it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure a lot of people will find connections with it. Because yeah, they're all things that we can relate to. But no, I just really want to thank you for um, talking with me and for your beautiful film and sharing it with SF Doc Fest. Last question I just want to ask, because we are really excited to have the premiere. What do you hope for the future of this film? What do you hope audiences get from it? And maybe for the journey that it's just beginning.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I hope it gets out wider to, a larger audience. And I hope that people find different parts of the story that they can connect to and that resonate for them. Um, Whether it's around, you know, how to live a creative life, or how to work through hard things with being creative, because that was an aspect of it, and um, yeah, and be able to um, yeah, find some kind of connection and open people's heart. That's what I hope.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for this conversation. I'm really excited that we have your film in DocFest.
Mm.
And thank you all for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.